Look guys, fantasy anime comes in a lot of shapes and sizes. You got 2000s Catboy with big massive fang sword fighting demons in feudal Japan. The 2010s bring the most action-packed fantasy anime with Magi, Overlord, and Fate Zero Hose if you watch the show. Not a big Fate fan, I'm gonna be honest with you. Even in the 2020s, it feels like we're going through a renaissance in fantasy anime with the #1 rated anime on my anime list being Freerun. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood fans are still recovering to this day. Dungeon Meshi became a hit show where a bunch of big backs just go down in a dungeon and eat a bunch of monsters. People ate this up. Laugh at the joke. Laugh at the joke. Laugh at the joke. Even going into 2025, we have the potential of getting one of the most expansive magic power systems with Witch Hat Atelier. That's where you guys say, because I don't know how to pronounce this. But alas, despite all these crazy anime, I was still fed up with the fantasy anime genre. For every shiny new cool fantasy anime that I feel that we got, I felt like I was berated by 10 anime like this. The Weakest Tamer began a journey to pick up trash. Now give it up for environmentalists, you know. We hate littering too. Like, we need an anime. I may be a guild receptionist, but I'll solo any boss to clock out on time. Guys, come on. Give it up for no OT. You know, nobody likes working overtime like that. I know it's an extra bag, but nobody trying to do that. I'm giving the disgraced noble lady I rescued a crash course in naughtiness. Whoa, so spicy. Oh, you guys didn't have to make an anime about that. You know, just make a couple more. Go ahead. Oh, wait. You guys are gonna love this one. The story of a man who turned into a pig. A fucking pig? A fucking pig? What was the audience? Who were you appealing to? Farmers? Barbecue eaters? There are plenty more plot lines that are just as, if not more stupid than what I just mentioned. Actually, leave a comment for the stupidest one that you guys have heard of. So if you're like me and need a detox, this is where Record of Lodoss comes in. This is a 1990s studio madhouse fantasy anime based off a 1988 light novel based off some games that a dude played of Dungeons and Dragons with his homies. Yeah, this is that real shit. This is that real, like, hey, this is that nerd stuff that you kind of need. In the first episode, you are handed this cast of characters that look like they came out of a straight Dragon Quest 3, Phantasy Star 2, Final Fantasy 4 type game. We got Parn, the cookie cutter hero MC that kind of reminds you of Vanilla Ice Cream because he's really good, but he's really generic. We got Deedlit, the fan favorite waifu slash elf that looked like they just had a BEL instead of a BBL. If you guys don't get the joke, Brazilian ear left, Brazilian butt left. No, we got Gim. If you can't tell, he's a dwarf and he got a cool axe. That's kind of all I got. He's kind of a chill guy, you know. Slane, the mage of the group with the coolest name out of the entire squad, but the lamest design out of the entire squad. This dude looks like he hasn't gotten a haircut in years and is wearing a brown on brown Goodwill fit. I'm sorry, bro. You gotta change your name. Eto, the healer slash main character's best friend, and also wipes a baddie somehow, but I'm not gonna question it. Riz is Riz. And I almost forgot Woodchuck was in this anime. How I forget with a name like Woodchuck, I don't know. And in this 13 episode OVA, this ragtag team tries to overthrow all the evil that tries to upset the island of Lodoss. I personally just watched the OVA, but there are iterations of the series if you guys are interested. So what's the appeal? What made me binge this almost generic 90s fantasy anime where the characters just go and fight these other mythological creatures as well as these other very generic 90s bad guy fantasy villains? Like, okay, Ashram, like you couldn't choose a more demonic and evil name out there. Like, you don't have to mog everybody with your 200-pound all black suits of armor alongside of your dark elf girlfriend that you just walk around with all the time. Like, come on, bro, get the fuck out of here. I guess we can start by how this show looks, and that's where we transition to studio. The appeal of a hand-drawn fantasy anime by one of the most, if not the most, acclaimed anime studios of all time should be a green flag for everyone, and if it's not, maybe your standards are too high. Maybe you're that one person on Tinder that, hey, maybe you're not getting matches because, oh no, you might not be like There's such a flair that comes from the washed out colors in 90s anime. I'll be honest, I feel like I'm at the point where I get a little turned off when I turn on a fantasy anime and it has the color palette of a big ass Crayola set. Like, it's just doing too much. Imagine Toothless, but in a bright blue color with a cast of characters that have pink and green hair. I don't want to see that, and you don't want to either. I know you don't. I like to look at Hunter x Hunter as an example because you get two very strong adaptations, one in the 90s and one in the 2010s. We got 2010's Kurapika, which is a scary dude. Hey, I don't want to mess with you. I'm not sitting next to you during lunch, but you got, hey, yeah, I'll give you the ice pack. Just leave me alone. Wait, no, my wife? My kid? My son? No, not the dog, not the dog. The colors might not be as vibrant as modern shows, but they don't need to be. Especially in fantasy anime, because that washed out look adds that itty bitty bit of edginess that goes a long way when it comes to the monsters, the bad guys, the magic system, all that. And again, Studio Madhouse, so you know, they put their foot in this. They big stepping. You ever watch an old anime with good animation and just get kind of upset? Not even kind of upset, like really upset. I'd be like, damn, so a 1990s anime could look like this, but one of the top 10 selling franchises in your country is being looked like a Google Slides presentation from a 16-year-old high school student. What is going on? What are the decisions that we're making? Look at this cut of the main cast just getting ready to attack. They have not cut or attacked a single thing, and I am locked in. The delivery of the animation only helps to deliver this ginormous When I go into a fantasy anime, I am really trying to see the most strange and unimaginable things that I can think of. Especially in a medium like anime where they push the boundaries of what you could do, the possibilities are endless. This is one of the reasons why I do not like fantasy anime where you just do regular shit. Like, I get it, nobody wants to watch your farming anime, Bob, but if you put it in an isekai world, I'm not gonna watch it still. It's still farming, I'm good. Right off the bat, I felt this fantasy element from the creatures. Ghoul crawlers, kobolds, sea serpents, undines. I'm tired of seeing episode 1 of a fantasy anime and they fight the same level 3 lame goblin that looks just a slightly different from every single anime, but still lame. The first episode in the show, they fought gargoyles. When was the last time you saw a gargoyle in an anime? I can't think of one. I had to look it up. Konosuba was the last one that I've seen, and they look like this. It looked like this. You see this, dude? This is not a gargoyle. I was upset. And what's a good old fantasy anime without a reptile flying in the air, breathing fire? These different scales of dragons that go from maybe these small dungeon boss dragons that you have to fight at the end of a cave, or these dragons that are literally associated to kingdoms and scaled to the size of volcanoes. It just makes you think like, hey, I understand why they're essential now. Like dragons, like I would not be having as good of a time if you weren't here, dragon. You doing your thing right now. But even though these dragons are super cool, hey, flying dragon, they serve no real purpose to the actual After watching the show, I realized a show like this would not be able to thrive in this climate whatsoever, and I don't really think it needs to. And even though the execution of the fantasy elements is really immaculate, and I've been straight stroking this show this entire video because of it, that's really all of it. I ain't gonna do that. That's all. It truly does feel like a love letter to fantasy fans, but the love just ends at the fantasy part. This anime felt like if a guy just took a book and said, hey guys, do you want to see all these cool animated events from this cool fantasy novel that I found from 1988? It will be super fun. Freaking goofball. At a point, it kind of gets a little comedic because plot points be beginning and ending in the span of minutes. The king will ask the main crew to go on an entire adventure to figure out information on the antagonist, and they'll come back in 4 minutes like nothing and be like, woo, congrats gang, we did it, cool quest, finished music, wah. We transition through like 4 different antagonists back to back to back. It's like King of Evil Darkness wants to take over the island, and then right-hand man of Evil King of Darkness wants to take over the island, and then Evil Magic Witch wants to start wars so no one takes over the island. And I don't even know where or who this guy came from, but he's like, I will resurrect the god of evil darkness to take over the island. Like, rinse, wash, and repeat. I'm sick and tired, but I'm watching it. If there are any side fights or side characters doing anything, you'll just get a clip of them starting that interaction and then time skip later, and they're like in a totally different location with no explanation on what happened. And if you're looking for some top tier Uesawa level rating, oh, it's so good, you're not gonna find it here. Good guy equals good guy. Bad guy equals bad guy. That's how it should be. Good, bad, good, bad. Everything is in service to making the fantasy elements enjoyable. In the lens of an OVA, it's not the worst thing. They just really wanted to animate cool fantasy anime, cool elf girl, cool fights, and they succeeded. This show might not be for everyone. It actually might not be for a lot of people, I ain't gonna hold you. But a franchise such as this was able to garner multiple anime releases, multiple manga releases, multiple light novel releases, and video game adaptations going all the way up into 2021. And the only way to chop up this series' success is that it's a show that knows what it's trying to do and it goes straight towards it. This is an old school fantasy anime through and through, and if you're anything like me and are just overstimulated by all the new anime... Wait, is that a guy? Why is his legs like that? Then the 13 episode OVA by Studio Madhouse, Record of Lodoss, is for you. And just a heads up, there are a bunch of other anime studios that are able to create shows that aren't the most generic thing ever. And if you want to hear me talk about that, we can watch my shot video right over here. But thank you guys again for watching. Guys and gals, have a great day. These are my blank thoughts.